life of Arthur Ashe. Can anybody today tell me of a professional sport that isn't interracial? That's how tennis was before Arthur Ashe stepped on the court. You see, tennis was a sport that was made over in England by all the rich people. It was brought over to North America and played all by white people. Arthur Ashe was the very first African American to ever play on a professional scale. Hello, my name is Jacob Smith, and today I'm going to be going over the life of Arthur Ashe. And I'll be doing so by going over 3 of his main stages of life. These stages are the life before professional tennis, his tennis career, and the life after professional tennis. So let's start with his early childhood. Arthur Robert Ashe Jr. was born July 10, 1943 in Richmond, Virginia. His parents are Arthur Sr. and Mattie Ashe. He spent all of his younger days growing up with his mother, who at the age of 5 taught him how to read. But tragically, at the age of 6, his mother died, and he was left with his dad, who also at the age of 6 taught him how to play tennis. His dad was a caretaker for Brookfield Park, and that's when he ended up being the instructor that ended up teaching him up until he was 14. This guy was Dr. R. Walter Johnson. Johnson was an African-American doctor who taught all his students with a military-based style. He strongly suggested that everyone should be taught sportsmanship, and the 3 keys that he used was respect, sharp appearance, and at all costs, no cheating whatsoever. When he graduated high school, he was number 1 in his class scholastically. Now that we've got done talking about his early childhood, let's go over some of his tennis career. Arthur Ashe was the first African American to ever receive a national ranking by the USLTA, which stands for the U.S. Lawn Association for Tennis. He won the National Interscholastics in 1960, becoming the first African American to do so. This is a championship that's played by junior players. Juniors are 18-year-old and younger and play in their own league. He did so well in juniors that all kinds of colleges were looking at him. But UCLA is the one that really got his attention. They offered Ashe a full-ride scholarship to play tennis there. While at UCLA, they did end up taking a national title in 1965, where he won both in singles and doubles. When he graduated, though, he ended up graduating with a bachelor's in business administration. He turned pro in 1969, where he ended up being the first player to ever win on the U.S. Open at Forest Hill. At that time, Rod Laver was the number 1 ranked player in the world, and when he ended up beating him, he ended up becoming tied as the number 1 player in the world. He's won all kinds of events, but one of the ones that stuck out the most was the South African Open Finals, where he won both singles and doubles. His partner for doubles was Tom Oker. Tom Oker was from the Netherlands. In 1975 was the best year of his career. He was the first African American to play at Wimbledon and actually end up winning. He ended up beating the resigning champion, Jimmy Connors, who was ranked number 1 at the time. By beating him, he ended up moving into the number 1 ranked year, or number 1 player of the year, and ended up keeping that for most of the year. He also was listed as the player of the year that year. Throughout his entire career, he has 800 wins, and tragically, in 1979, he had a heart attack, which ended up ending his career early. Now that we've talked a little bit over his career, let's go into his life after tennis. In 1977, he married the love of his life, Jean Madasami. She is a professional photographer and artist. They had 1 daughter by the name of Camara Elizabeth. In 1981 to 82, he was a Davis Cup captain and was the very first black athlete to ever do that. This was a huge task for all black athletes, and he was a huge role model for all. He also was elected into the UCLA Sports Hall of Fame, and in 1985 he was elected into the Tennis Hall of Fame. In 1983, after his heart attack, he showed great appreciation for the American Heart Association and ended up becoming part of the national campaign chairman. In 1988, he had a book published called A Hard Road to Glory, The History of the African American Athlete. He ended up making a television version of his book, which ended up getting the Emmy Award. In 1988, Ash was tragically infected with HIV. He ended up finding this out after having brain surgery. The world was shocked by this. Because in 1992 he went public and talked all about his disease. This is when he founded the Arthur Ashe Foundation, which was a foundation used to try to treat and find treatments for HIV. On February 6, 1993, Arthur Robert Ashe Jr. died. There's over 11,000 people that went to his funeral. And in 1997, the Ashe Stadium was built. It is the home of the Grand Slam of the U.S. It's one of the biggest stages for all tennis, and was made in his memory. Arthur Ashe was a truly inspirational player, both on the court and off. And that's why so many people look up to so many things that he does. He ends up having a lot of quotes. These are some of them. If I were to say, God, why me for all the bad things? I'd have to say, God, why me for all the good things? This is just one of the many quotes that he has said that has made him truly inspirational to all players for tennis. Like it says here, the great may be gone, but his legacy will remain forever. Thank you.